belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
As he took power on May the 29th, 2015, as the fourth democratically elected president of the Fourth Republic of Nigeria, retired Major General Muhammadu Buhari was an example of tenacity and perseverance. He had contested in 2003, 2007, and in 2011, and had lost on those occasions. But here, he was once again at the pinnacle of political power, defeating incumbent leader Dr. Goodluck Jonathan.
Muhammadu Buhari of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
You voted for change, and now change has come.
The phrase once again refers to the fact that he had been military head of state between January the 1st, 1984 and August the 27th, 1985. Having served for almost 4 years, he is seeking another 4-year term from the electorate, which, if successful, will make him Nigeria's oldest serving president. The campaigns seem to indicate that his established well of fanatical support, particularly in northern Nigeria, remains strong, and he may be making inroads into other zones.
I thank you very much indeed. I assure you that no Nigerian will regret voting us into office, and we will continue to improve the situation. Security, economy, and fighting corruption. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Who is President Muhammadu Buhari, candidate of the All Progressives Congress and APC in the 2019 election?
Nigeria, save Buhari! Nigeria,
save Buhari!
Save Buhari all over Nigeria! Save Buhari all over Nigeria!
Okay, music!
Born on December the 17th, 1942, to a Fulani family in Daura, now in Katsina State, Muhammadu Buhari is the 23rd child of his father, Haddo Adamu, who died when the child was only 4 years old, but was raised by his mother, Suleihat. Buhari enlisted in the Nigerian military at the age of 19 in 1962, attending Nigerian Military Training College and then cadet training in Aldershot, England between 1962 and 1963. He was commissioned in January 1963 as a second lieutenant and became platoon commander of 2nd Infantry Battalion in Abeokuta, southwest Nigeria. After the war, Muhammadu Buhari was Brigade Major and Commandant 31st Infantry Brigade, and later Acting Director, Army Transport and Supply at the headquarters. Now Lieutenant Colonel, Buhari became Governor of Northeast State after the coup of July 1975, which removed General Yakubu Gowon. Northeast State comprised of what is today known as Borno, Taraba, Adamawa, Gombe and Bauchi states. In March 1976, he was appointed Federal Commissioner, now Minister of Petroleum Resources, a time when significant investment in pipelines and storage depots were made. From 1978 to the handover to civilian role in 1979, he was Military Secretary at Army Headquarters and member of the Supreme Military Council. The next time Officer Buhari will come to the notice of the nation was on December the 31st, 1983, when he emerged after the overthrow of President Shehu Shagari as a military head of state with the rank of Major General. He had been General Officer commanding GOC of 3 Armored Division in Jos before the coup. His government introduced a war against indiscipline. Why? To instill discipline and curb corruption. Mass arrested politicians from the previous government and put many of them before military tribunals on charges of corrupt practices. The government sought to restore economic health as well, a task made more difficult by the economic downturn occasioned by a fall in international oil prices. After his removal by his military colleagues on August 27, 1985, General Buhari was detained for more than 3 years, during which he lost his mother. After his release, he divorced his first wife, Safinatu, who he married in 1971, and subsequently married Aisha Halilu in 1988. General Buhari has 10 children, 8 girls and 2 boys. His next public assignment was his acceptance to serve as a chairman of the Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, under the late head of state, General Sani Abacha. General Buhari's first foray into partisan politics came in 2003 when he contested the presidency against General Olusegun Obasanjo as APP candidate. The then president beat him by more than 11 million votes. In 2007, he secured 18% of the votes against the 70% secured by winner, the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. In 2011, he lost by more than 10 million votes against Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. On each occasion, candidate Buhari pursued his objections to the result all the way to the Supreme Court, which were ultimately unsuccessful.
In 2003, when we disagreed with the elections, we spent 30 months in court. Out of those 30 months in court, I know I could recall I only missed 4 sittings. Doesn't matter once it started, whether it is 7 in the morning to 11 in the night. The first one I missed was when we went to bury my vice presidential candidate, late Okadibo. The rest I was away out of the country. In 2007, we spent 18 months in court. And when we eventually reached the Supreme Court, on the day of the decision, the justices of the Supreme Court that formed the panel, there was 7 of them. 3 said they have annulled the election because it was not conducted according to law. 3 said, well, there were flaws, but all the same, the ruling party could have won. The Chief Justice of the Federation then looked at them, and he cast his vote with the second group. So we lost 4-3.
A change of strategy, partnership with new allies, particularly Southwest, and a coalition of parties brought him the prize. Since then, the president has had mixed reviews. Critics jumped on the delay in appointing the federal cabinet as evidence of unseriousness. but his handlers said it was an indication of thoroughness. As a first act, he was called Baba Go Slow, but he defended himself, insisting he would always be deliberate and thorough in taking decisions.
I have gone through it over and over again. That's why I'm not in a hurry virtually to do anything. I will sit and reflect and continue to have my clear conscience.
Perhaps these were early indications of exceedingly high expectations to be met very quickly. The president's capacity was also significantly humbled by the state of his health. Among others, his 51-day absence between February and March 2017 and his 104-day absence between May and August 2017 on medical vacation are reported as significantly affecting the pace of decision-making. However, when he got going, the Buhari government notched up some wins. These include negotiating and securing the release of a significant number of the Chibok schoolgirls captured by Boko Haram under his predecessor. It also secured the release of all but one of the Dapchi schoolgirls kidnapped from their school. Critics, however, carpeted the government for allowing the kidnap to take place at all.
Boko Haram has technically, in fact, beyond technicality, Boko Haram has been degraded, has actually been defeated. I think that what we are dealing with, from all of the things that are emerging lately, is that Boko Haram has just become a generic term, to describe the kind of criminal activity and terrorism that is cross-border happening in the Lake Chad Basin area. The re-emergence now in the area of mercenaries, certainly non-Nigerian, and the deployment of equipment increasingly sophisticated, including the drones that could do 5 hours of airtime, flying in the air and scooping information on sensitive military positions in our own country. So the entire thing calls for new strategy and better understanding and patience by Nigerians.
Some of our soldiers are actually running away because they don't even have a sufficient ammunition to stand. That's the reality, that our men are not as well equipped as they ought to be. We should equip them properly, give them the best. The Nigerian army has a record of being one of the best armies in the world. That's why we've been on peacekeeping. We will return to that, and even better. It can be done because Nigerian army, they are originally very, very, very courageous men and women.
The Buhari administration also reports that it has taken back all territory in the northeast previously under Boko Haram control and has technically defeated the group. Other security challenges, however, reared their heads in the form of farmers-herders clashes, cattle rustling, and sheer banditry, among others.
He has scored very, very high. As far as we are concerned, we know it and we experience it practically, the change in the status quo. In the past, every religious place you go to, it will take you close to 1 hour before you can be able to gain entrance into the place. Roadblocks in churches and mosques have disappeared in our place. And from the time we have taken over to date, there hasn't been any incident in Bauchi State, for example. Yes, we have our own fair share of cattle rustling here, kidnapping there, but we do not have any problem of insurgency. So which supports the fact that the Boko Haram has been greatly dismantled. The only thing is that they are hitting on soft targets now, which is a sign that they have been degraded to a very great extent.
Our situation in the Northwest, as at today, is not as bad as any of those free states in 2015. Realistically speaking, one must concede to the fact that there is an improvement. But then you also have to go back to the views of the leaders of those areas. The Shehu of Borno recently came out to cry out loud, seeking for help. that Boko Haram is retaking back some of the liberated areas in Borno State. So we need to step up our game as a country to ensure that the reasonable gains achieved were not reversed. And I can tell you from what we've been hearing, from what we've been reading, and even what we've been hearing in terms of intelligence and talking to some of our friends and brothers in Borno, Yobe, and in particular these two states, they're a kind of resurgence.
The government has also pursued what it describes as a vigorous war against corruption, recovering huge sums of stolen funds and prosecuting suspects, as well as securing convictions. Even the heads of both the second and third arms of government have been involved.
If you ask Nigerians, they are beginning to see the corruption fight as principally being targeted at those that are perceived to be in the opposition parties. And this is not good enough. Because once that mindset is made up by most Nigerians, whatever the presidency is doing will not be seen.
Now, as we speak, the only senator in prison convicted under President Buhari's government happened to be a APC senator, Senator Dare. The second one, I think from Taraba or wherever, also an APC element, is in prison. No PDP senator has yet been jailed. Their cases are still pending. So for me, the key issue that should bother commentators and analysts is whether there is persecution rather than prosecution. In any event, persecution or prosecution, the Nigerian judiciary has shown sufficient independence to the extent that many have been arraigned and only few has been convicted. It shows that the executive doesn't have the last word on this issue.
The Buhari government, which took power when international oil prices were at record lows, struggled to fulfill electoral promises, including social investment schemes like school feeding program, conditional cash transfers, N-Power, and trader money.
What we're doing now is that we're bringing it down to the level of the petty trader, so that a petty trader in trading practically anywhere gets 10,000 as a first loan. And when they pay back that 10,000, we open a bank account for them, and they can get 15. They can then take 15,000, pay it back, you get 20,000, and it goes on like that. The whole idea is to see practical ways of assisting hardworking traders, hardworking Nigerians who are, basically at the bottom of the ladder, but who have every, hope and aspiration to do better business, to do, bigger business.
As well as needed infrastructure investment in roads, rail, airports, health, and educational facilities, among others, against the background of dwindling revenue. And to plug leakages, it accelerated the use of the Treasury Single Account, TSA, which consolidated all government revenue in a single account at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Bank verification numbers, BVN, were also introduced to enable tracing of holders and holding them to account. Bans on making foreign exchange available for the importation of items like toothpicks were designed to help shore up the naira value while reducing pressure on exchange rates and volume.
There are certain mechanisms that this government has put in place that quietly corruption is beating a retreat. Even though in some cases they may be fighting back.
For supporters of the Buhari administration, the net effect of all this is the less visible and reported use of money openly during the political campaigns ahead of elections. However, budgets for 2016, 2017 and 2018 were very much delayed as a result of struggles for control of the process between the executive and the legislature. Today, questions about his state of health persist, with some pointing to gaffes he has made on the campaign trail.
I am handing over this flag of honor to our presidential candidate, who is of our senatorial candidate, gubernatorial candidate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Madam, I wish you the best of luck.
They want to foist on Nigerians this kind of president. Have you seen his rallies where he raises the hands of people that have nothing to do with flag? In Delta, he gave the flag of governorship this thing to Ogboro as presidential candidate of the APC. He gave him the flag of a senatorial candidate of the APC. In Akwa Ibom, he gave the flag of the gubernatorial candidate to Udo Udoma. In Yobe, he gave the gubernatorial flag of the APC to Maimala Buni.
How can the world listen to Alhaji Galadima, who just said that he is not a member of the PDP, who appeared on that tape just now, endorsing Atiku Abubakar? These are clear slip of tongue on his part, because the world knows that I've never been a member of the PDP. So having made that mistake on this program now, can he now say that a slip of tongue by the president, a mistake by the president when he's coming down from the steps or the flight of stairs, can he now say that it amounts to sickness? So can we now say Alhaji Galadima is sick now on this program when he made a slip of tongue saying that I was a former member of the PDP, whereas I've never been a member of the PDP? Is he suffering from dementia?
Critics point out that it does appear at times that key control of government machinery may frequently reside outside the president, giving rise to the now popular term cabal. Even the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, gave credence to this when she alleged that many of those in her husband's government taking decisions were not amongst those who worked for his victory at the polls. The president's record on appointments has also come under scrutiny for what is described as its lopsidedness, charges denied with government representatives insisting that all such appointments are merit-based and comply with federal character principles. President Buhari says he needs the next 4 years to consolidate on current successes, as well as bring about new ones, while correcting errors wherever they are found.
Hello, compatriots. It has been over 3 years since you gave me your mandate to oversee the affairs of our dear country. It has not been an easy journey, but with sincerity of purpose, perseverance, dedication, and most importantly, support from individuals like you, we have made great progress. Some of these achievements are visible for everyone to see. Some are still in the works. I hereby humbly ask for your support again in the coming election to enable us to move to the next level and consolidate on the successes recorded in making our country a better place. I don't take your support for granted. We will continue to work to protect your interests and deliver our mandate. Thank you.
The verdict lies with the over 84 million eligible voters who have registered to vote and will deliver judgment on Saturday, February the 16th, 2019.